In today's video, we're going to look at how my team's gone in rounds 4 and 5 of the 2022 AFL Supercoach season. Hope you enjoy. The last 2 weeks have been really tough for us. There's been a couple of players who've really struggled. Cripps obviously got injured again, which wasn't a great pickup comparatively. I think I would have rather had Berry the 200k and the trade back, but in hindsight, what can you do? M8's really shown itself as being a problem position for us, which we're hoping to rectify this week. The DPP changes have just happened, which has been really good for us. Shaq and I will talk about it hopefully in the next episode of the watch list, so make sure you guys check that out. And we haven't really been too bad with our captain options. I think 2 weeks ago, we captained McRae, which was really good. And then last week, we captained Gawn. So McRae would have been a better pickup, extra 30 points, but 128 from Gawn's not too bad. So let's check out how the team went. So this week, we scored 21-19. So it wasn't great. We were definitely under par, as you can see by the massive rank drop again. Round 4, we dropped about 6,000 spots. Round 5, we did the same thing. But the bleeding stopped. I'm hoping to start moving up the ranks again, and you guys can be along for the ride for that. So hope you stick with us. Hope you enjoy the content. Our team value is 11,600,000, which I think is actually pretty good. We've had 2 price rises, so that's a lot of rookies making money for us. And as you've seen, just in general, a lot of rookies are making a lot of money this year. So even if you're behind, you're still going to be doing pretty good. Can't complain, see how we go. We're looking to move up the rankings quite a lot, and we're going to fix a lot of problems this week, which have really hurt us. I'm going to talk a little bit about some different problems with my team in this video, and players maybe you should kind of have a look at bringing into your side this week or next week. There's been a couple of really good rookies that we're going to have a look at. We finished round 4 with $200,000 in the bank and 19 trades. I didn't spend many trades last week. I just brought in O'Driscoll for Bowie, and then had 200 cash in the bank, 200k. It worked out really well for us. Bowie did score an 89, which kind of reset his cash gen, but O'Driscoll called a 103, which is obviously better, and having him for longer is going to work out really well for us as well. The DPP is great, and him being a rookie that could conceivably keep scoring 60s and 70s means that we can offload other players in our team that aren't scoring really well. Cripps was out last week, as you can see from over here, because he was injured, and it made us field Ward and McDonald on the bench, which wasn't great. Ward probably had his best game of the year, and McDonald was solid. I'll take a 53 over a 39 from Horne-Francis, which I'm just not happy about, but it's not as good as what other teams have. That obviously didn't have Cripps, didn't have Aaron Hall, who's now injured himself and forced him out of my team, and missing out on a couple of players. Last week, one of the massive strengths of my team was my forward line. 4 guys that were very close to scoring 100 or scored more than 100, as you can see down the bottom, and some decent players on the bench that mean that I can actually move those DPP forwards to other positions, fill holes in the team, and keep the scoring going, which is kind of what I'm looking to do this week. DPP coming in round 6, as opposed to other years, has been really helpful for us. A couple of players like Dacos getting it mean that we can free up some backline problems. And guys like Martin getting DPP means we can put him into the midfield and not really care too much. His almost scoring an 80 every week is a lot better than a McDonald scoring 40s and 50s, which is what's really going to help shore up our team. Hopefully Cripps comes back, but we'll see what happens. My changes for this week. So I'm looking to do a trade boost. I think the next 3 or 4 weeks you're going to have to really stay up with the pack. And there's a lot of players who are at a good price rise. I know we've spoken before about some players who, because they were valued so highly, or they had such a high price rise at the start of the year, that this is kind of the time when they will be available. So your Oliver and Petrarca, even a Steele, last week would have been great to grab him because his score, I think it was 60 or 70 that he scored round 1 or round 2, would have just been heading out of his cycle, and you could have picked him up a lot cheaper. Similar to Petrarca this week, I think he's a good grab. There is a couple of midfielders and a couple of defenders who we'll talk about with Shaq in the watch list episode that you guys should be going after. But then there's also those forwards and midfielders who were around the 400, 500k range to start with that have now moved up to a really good price. And if you don't grab them this week or next, you could be really hurt and having to try and bring them in at 600k as opposed to 550 and 530, which I think is a lot easier to get. It probably means doing 3 trades to get 1 player in instead of 2 rookies, which is, it's not great. No one wants to be spending a trade boost to do something extra, whereas you could have actually brought in 2 players and reduced 1 in a certain week. So, looking at my team right now, obviously Hall has to go, which is great because Dacos has got DPP. So having him in my team, just moving him a position, means I'm not actually losing anything by trading out someone else. I might not be gaining anything super duper, but he just means that he's scoring 70 in the defense instead of the forward line, which I'm happy with. And the same with Martin as well. I'm really, really looking to fill out this M8 position with someone who can actually play and can score well, which means that either McDonald's going or I'm going to move him this week. And I think he's going to go from the team. He's kind of been stuck around that price rise, around that price point. And sure, he did score a 53, which is great. But if I can swap him with Martin, get some cash back, get another player who is on the bubble who will score more than him, I'm happy to do that this week. And that's what I'm looking to do. The next couple of weeks are the weeks when you really, really have to shore up your rookies, because come rounds 9, 10, 11, the players you bring in now are the ones you're going to be looking to trade out. If you're not bringing in bubble guys or cash rookies now, just before the buy rounds and just during the buy rounds, you're really, really going to struggle to have players to upgrade and players to offload for cash. Because the cycle of guys like Hinge, the cycle of guys like Rochelle, Martin, even your Horn, Francis and Rouse, they're actually going to be out of your team. And that's going to mean that you really, really struggle. You won't have the guys who will be 350, 300k ready to offload if you don't bring in those players now, which is what we're looking to do. So, my team, my trades this week. Obviously, Aaron Hall has to go. Being injured, I believe a report came out today from North Melbourne saying he's probably out for a month and a half with a hamstring. So, he's just got to go. It's not worth us holding him, especially at 500k, when maybe he wasn't a great pickup to start with. If we had Crisp, I'd be up a trade now, or I'd be up 2 trades, because conceivably I have to bring Crisp in at some point. So, big L from us, but we'll take that one. I'm also looking to trade out McDonald this week because I really want to shore up that position here. And I think he's probably done in his cash gem. It was a toss-up between him and Ward, but there's been a couple of reports come out that Ward actually had the most CBAs basically outside of the Ruckman this week, and he would have scored a little bit more than a 65 if he didn't do some silly things in the 4th quarter, which means that he is going to reset his cash gen, or at least be a player who could be some cover for us, which right now I'm happy with. He's not the biggest problem. We've got to keep him. There is one player in my team who I consider to be the biggest problem, and that's going to be Mr. Dylan Stevens. The reason why I'm getting rid of Stevens is because his cash gen has been okay. Let's pull up Fully Wire and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Fully Wire is obviously a really good resource for everybody, and you should be looking at it. Even if you have gold, there's some stuff in here that's really, really good for you. If we look at his Supercoach scoring, the 59 was fine, the 95 was fantastic, and then we got shafted with the 23. What that means is, even if he comes back next week, he's still going to have that 23 in his price cycle, which is going to reduce his overall average, which reduces his price increase. Round 6, if he comes back, it's still going to be the same thing. This week, if he comes back, he still has a 23. So for 2 or 3 more weeks, he's going to be affected by this 23, which means that he's really only going to gain 20 to 30k. And that's someone that I'm not really happy with keeping on my field. JD and George have really spoken about it before, where this year you want to bring in the rookies that are going to make money fast. And right now, that's not Stevens. If I can offload Stevens, potentially bring in someone else who will make a lot of money really quick, spending a trade sometimes to do that is fine, is a good option. So that's what I'm going to do today. So Stevens is gone. We really need to. When I start doing upgrades in my team, obviously you have to start filling positions. Because of DPPs, we can start filling rookies and moving rookies around. So Dacos gets moved to the back line for us. We're not losing out anything there because he played here in the midfield. A rookie for a rookie is fine, or at least the moving the position is okay. Similar to a Martin. I'm going to start by moving Martin up because I'm happy with him scoring the same, and he'll be doing that in the forward line and the midfield. There aren't really any good midfield rookies on the bubble this week that I have to actually bring in. I don't believe there's anyone. The back line has Perez, which is fine. If you want to bring him in, should be a good cover for Aaron Hall. But in the midfield, there really isn't anyone. Hobbs may come in. There may be a couple that debut this week. But right now, nobody. I'm also going to move Cornelio into that midfield as well for a similar reason. And I'm going to move Rochelle up. So what does that do for us? That actually frees up a lot of position for us. And we're going to move Dixon down. Now, if you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm going to be doing this week, here it is. I want to hear your predictions in the chat or in the comment section. Let me know if you kind of guessed what I was doing beforehand. But major DPP movements are fine. I'm still keeping the same rookies as I've just said. I'm just filling up positions on field. And the fact we actually get new DPPs, I love it, mate. I actually love it. All right. So this week, I'm going to bring in Mr. Tim English. Probably should have started him, or probably at least should have offloaded Grundy for him a long time ago. 121 average basically put him as the best ruckman this year. He doesn't look like Steph Martin or Jordan Sweet's really going to come and take his spots. And we're able to pick him in the forward line. That's fantastic. Generally, these two positions here are the ones that will score us the most points because you're getting guys that score 130s every week. And now we can pick another one in the forward line. It's just silly not to. If I could fill my whole forward line with sole ruckman, I would, because you'd be scoring 120s every week. It's a position with hit-outs to advantages and clearances that you just get points, and you get points for free. That's why he's fantastic. I don't have a lot of money left, which means I probably can't bring any premiums into my team, unless it was someone who was, say, 400k, which I'm really not comfortable with doing that at the moment. And there's a couple of good bubble buy round players, or bubble players for this week that I'm going to bring in. So one of them's going to be a ruckman and one of them's going to be a forward. I think you know who I'm going for this week. Big Braden Bruce. Now, I have been a little bit hesitant to play him on field as a ruck option, but having him as my ruck 3 right now, I'm pretty happy with doing that. It means that I can swing him and Grundy if Grundy shits the bed this week, which could conceivably happen. He hasn't been doing that well, and he almost looks sick on field, which was something I noted last week while watching the game. He's not running, he's not marking. I don't think he's taken a mark in 2 weeks. And he's not the ruckman that kind of we wanted. Big O does shut down players. He did get double teamed, and Collingwood don't really have a second ruckman to cover with him. But paying 500, and we paid, 620k for Grundy. It's painful. And it's something we really didn't want to have, but, what can you do? This option does give me the chance to, if I want to next week, bring in Hayes, go Grundy to Hayes, and then triple upgrade somewhere else, which conceivably we could do. But right now, it's Bruce's R3. Okay. The next player to bring in for us is Roses. He's our second player on the bubble, and that's why I'm bringing him in. Scored 2 scores of 70, look really good for us. And if he can keep up a similar scoring, it's perfect. There's no complaints. So let's go Hayes on field and then Roses in there. So that's kind of my trades for this week. It doesn't look too bad. Price projected scoring. Let's go and hit optimize and see what it says. So this is the team currently with Cripps injured. I'm going to move Cripps in instead of Rochelle. I still think Horn-Francis could be a decent scorer, so we'll just wait and see with that. Last week, he gave away a lot of frees, had some clangers that he really hasn't done before. I think he was pretty frustrated with him and the team's performance against the Dogs, and that's kind of what really hurt us. And I'm expecting a decent bounce back from him. If he doesn't, he's on the chopping block for next week, and I'll probably look to getting rid of Rowell and Horn-Francis. The extra 200k in the bank's really good because it can mean that we can actually double upgrade and one downgrade next week, and potentially do that for the next 3 or 4 weeks, which could mean 1, 2, 3 rookies off the bench or off the field. It could mean 1, 2, 3 similar, and probably this position down here too. Hayes has some money to make, but next week or the week after, Ryder could be coming back, which will really affect his scoring. So just have to wait and see with him. I'm glad that we kept him. A few people didn't. We didn't get the 105 score, but we got the cash gen, which is great too. So just looking at what players we can pick as captain and vice captain this week. Just looking at our vice captain and captaincy options now. I was going to go into a rant about how Hinge was a good pickup, but he's actually playing on Saturday. And I don't really have anyone from GWS or St Kilda to pick, so we can't really use Hinge. That's okay. My straight pick this week is probably going to be Jack Macrae. If I have a rookie that's going to be out, I will obviously pick them first, but I think Macrae's a good shout, and he's been scoring 140s every week. Maybe he doesn't do it, maybe he does, but I think he's my pick. If I could optimize and do whatever I wanted, I would probably go Macrae into... Who else would be a good shout? Maybe Matt Scorn against Richmond would be good. Could go Lockie Neal, though I think maybe he gets a bit of a tag. I don't know how well that does for us, but see what happens. Or potentially Cripps against Freo. Essendon, I don't really have anyone. Hawks and Sydney, I don't have anyone. So that's probably what I would do. Like, share, and subscribe for some more content. And remember, guys, I'm Big J. Have a nice day. Bye.